Welcome back, everyone. The Samsung Galaxy S22 just ended up coming out, so let's go and compare it against the iPhone XR and see which specific phone you should go and pick up. Now, I will leave both these phones linked in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, on the front, we actually do have the same sized panel, although the iPhone XR looks like a way bigger phone. You have a 6.1-inch IPS panel on the front of the iPhone XR, and it's a pretty good looking panel for it being a 750p panel. It's not like crazy amazing anymore. It's not an OLED, and I will say from this point onwards, it is starting to look a little bit dated. You have, kind of thick bezels around it, which is pretty crazy to say because back in 2018, this was a pretty good design. You still have the notch on it, and it's not an AMOLED display. So definitely compared to the S22, it's not that great looking, but it is substantially cheaper nowadays. You can probably pick it up for less than $300 in a ton of places since this thing is approaching 4 years old now. So big thing to keep in mind for the iPhone XR. On the Galaxy S22, you have a 6.1-inch dynamic AMOLED display, and this is a very, very good panel. It's 1080p, so higher resolution than the iPhone XR. It's also more expensive than the iPhone XR nowadays, so keep that in mind. You have the hole punch display, but you also have 120 Hz on this panel as well. So everything kind of refreshes a little bit more, and that's just a little bit more faster. And that's one of my favorite things about the Samsung Galaxy S22 for sure. The panel is pretty good. Now, in terms of thinness and thickness, interestingly enough, the iPhone XR was kind of a thick phone when it first came out, and now it's kind of about the same thickness. Maybe the XR is a little bit thicker, but they're both the same thing almost, and I wouldn't really say one is way thicker than the other one. Now on the back, we do have glass backs on both. We have the standard glass back on the iPhone XR. We have the frosted glass back on the Galaxy S22. We also have a triple camera setup on the S22, single camera setup on the iPhone XR, wireless charging on both, but you do have reverse wireless charging on the Galaxy S22, which is so cool. You have IP certification on both as well, and definitely you're getting a more premium phone on the Galaxy S22. There's really no competition here. The S22 feels much, much more premium than the iPhone XR for sure. Now, another big thing is with software. Now, it really depends. Do you like iOS? Do you like, Android? It really comes down to you. But one thing that's really interesting is that the iPhone XR isn't really going to last as long as the Galaxy S22. Typically, when we compare iPhones and Androids, the iPhones last longer. But for one, the iPhone XR is already 3-4 years old now, so that's a big thing to keep in mind. And on top of that, maybe the iPhone XR will still continue to get updates for many more years from now. But the Galaxy S22 is pretty much here to stay. Samsung has improved the software longevity again, which is amazing. And as I mentioned before, I love having and seeing that type of capability. So Samsung is improving the software longevity on the Galaxy S22. There's a chance the iPhone XR may end up getting a couple more software updates here and there, and it was a pretty good selling iPhone, so I kind of expect that to happen, but I guess we'll see what happens in the future. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone XR has that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 GB of RAM, where the Samsung Galaxy S22 has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset inside of it with 8 GB of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both of these. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out in the background, as you guys can tell, so let's get into it. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. And I think the Galaxy S22 is faster. Let's do messages. Let's not do that. Let's do camera, 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing. Maybe the S22 slightly faster. Let's get into their app stores, 3, 2, 1. You see the S22 much faster here. The iPhone XR a little bit slower, but Androids are notorious of just pretty much having really fast load times for their app stores. Scrolling through here, don't really see that big of a difference, to be honest. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and get into something like these third-party apps that I have on both these phones. So let's get into it. Let's do Dune, which I don't think I have here, which is very annoying. Let's do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we kind of had to load twice on that screen on the iPhone XR, very weird. We do have this downloading content thing, which does happen pretty much on both phones. It's just if it's an older phone, it may take a little bit longer. So that's a thing to keep in mind. I've seen a couple comments about that. That's one thing to keep in mind. You can see the Galaxy S22, I think, was much faster here for sure. The iPhone XR a little bit slower. Definitely no problem with it, but it is one of those things to keep in mind. If I were to go and play, you can tell there's probably not going to be that big of a difference. It's a pretty basic game when it comes down to it. So you can see pretty much same loading speeds and everything. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and get into Snake vs. Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And you can see again, Galaxy S22 is faster. iPhone XR slightly behind, not a big deal, but just slightly behind. Getting out of this one, let's go and get into Stack, 3, 2, 1. And you can see the Galaxy S22 is faster. The iPhone XR a little bit behind right there. Gameplay wise, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same. And you can see kind of glitched up a little bit on the iPhone XR, but let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and get into Snapchat. I am logged in here, so let's get that. Let's do Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And I will be honest, the iPhone XR I think is doing a decent job at keeping up with the Galaxy S22. The S22 is definitely the faster one, as you guys can tell. It's pretty much beating the iPhone XR, and it's also much smoother and I would say faster experience. But I do like that. I like how the iPhone XR is still kind of keeping up with this phone. We can go and do thank you, 3, 2, 1. And you can see the Galaxy S22 is faster again. The iPhone XR a little bit behind, as you can see, but definitely not a problem. I think it's totally okay. Again, this is a 4-year-old phone now, and it's actually doing a really, really good job against the Galaxy S22. Let's go and do BOFA, which I guess I do not have here anymore. And honestly, what I can tell you is I think both these phones do a great job. The iPhone XR is slower noticeably than the Galaxy S22, and this was a quick comparison. I will probably do a full one if this one gets views, if people are interested in it. But I'm going to be honest, I think the Galaxy S22 is the faster one for sure. I'm honestly pretty surprised how great of a job the iPhone XR is doing. I think I've been comparing the Galaxy S22 for so much time now that I'm kind of used to how fast this phone is. But I do think when it comes down to it, the Galaxy S22 is faster, but the iPhone XR actually did a really good job too. So in terms of the speed comparison, that covers it up. Now let's go and quickly hit on the cameras. Now on the back, we have a triple camera setup on the Galaxy S22, a wide-angle lens, telephoto lens, and an ultra-wide sensor. The iPhone XR has a single wide-angle lens. Now, I mentioned this for a while, I've said before, the iPhone XR's camera was good when it came out. It was never like crazy amazing. You do have the ability of doing 4K at 60 on the back, but you only have 1080p at 60 on the front, which is kind of lackluster nowadays. I think it's a decent camera, but again, when it's compared to something like the Galaxy S22, it's not even fair. You're definitely getting a much better camera setup on the Galaxy S22, but this is still a decent camera. You have portrait mode, you have video mode, and like all this other stuff. But definitely, when it comes down to some social media apps, you're actually getting a better experience on something like an iPhone XR, in my opinion. Now, something like the Galaxy S22, it's a very, very good phone. This is probably the best camera or one of the best cameras of this year. You're getting, again, that triple camera setup, so you can zoom in a lot and you can zoom out a lot, which is great. You have the ability of doing, video mode and all this other stuff. You have 8K capability on the back, 4K at 60 on the front. But the small mode is pretty crazy because you do actually have the capability of, utilizing all these other features, which is so cool. So in my opinion, this is one of the coolest things about this phone. And I, for one, like I mentioned before, am a fan of these types of things. So definitely the Galaxy S22 has a better camera setup as well. And as I mentioned before, the Galaxy S22 I think is definitely the better phone here. It's not even fair, to be honest. This is the latest phone. It's almost like a flagship. So this is a really good phone in so many areas. I think it beats the iPhone XR pretty much every single way. Maybe the iPhone XR wins in the price per dollar standpoint. I do like that a lot. I like how the iPhone XR is like a pretty cheap phone now, which is so cool. Not a lot of phones can have that type of character of it being a cheap phone and still being a good phone. So I'm a big fan of that. I think the Galaxy S22 is the better one here for sure. But you still have to give a lot of respect for the iPhone XR as well. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. If you want to pick up either of these phones like I mentioned, this will be down in the description for that as well. You can, check them out from there and help support the channel at the same time. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed the video, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.